Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all wherever you are and whoever you are. Well, just a very short clip today. Today is Sunday, 16th of February. Surprise, surprise! Today I just went to I was really supposed to be just a walk at the uh, flea market and so forth, and just a surprise that two things just got up. First thing first is I've got a new note from here. One of the lucky find, I would say, but not a very good one in condition. And the other one is, I got my note back uh, from a dealer that I sent for grading, and this is a local deal, Malaysia's local grader. So yeah, these are the two new notes that should I say, one is got it back, the other one is a new input on my collection. Yeah. So today, I'm not gonna say much of the other things than what I've said yesterday. As I have made a clip yesterday on some of my notes that I've just regarded as the Japanese note, and also Republic of China, the Bank of Communication. So sidetrack on those or on information for myself, also diary. Not much, as I would say, from what I've said yesterday. Uh, Again, synopsis is America is going haywire. Many countries are now retaliating economically, blah blah blah. EU just have to re-evaluate themselves because probably with this destabilizing situation, Russia and China will exploit, taking as an opportunity, for Russia is on the Ukraine issue, for China is Taiwan issue. Who knows? Taiwan maybe is in a very good condition, could be accelerated to reclaim by mainland China, by People's Republic. Who knows? It has always been and is always in the mission of the Beijing side. Taiwan is inevitably will return to the communist grip of power. It's only in a matter of time. Of course, with the current president, Xi Jinping, some may call them chairman and so forth, but actually, technically, chairman is already abolished position. The only person that holds the chairmanship is probably is officially by Mao Zedong. Other than him, unofficially, probably the last mentioned person I would say is Deng Xiaoping, will be the very very last one. After Deng Xiaoping, all are considered called president of the country. So anyway, what we know of, whether it is realistic or not. When in 1997 there was an official handover of the Hong Kong to China, from British hand to the People's Republic's of China's hand in returning the possession. They set a boundary that within 100 years Hong Kong is able to self-govern, including Macau and so forth. But mainland China, especially Beijing, also take that as Taiwan to do the same unofficially. So by right in 19 sorry, not 100 years, sorry, correction, 50 years, half a century. So by the time it reached 2047, I repeat, 2047, Hong Kong will lose its self-governing. Everything will be redirected to Beijing. Of course, how it's going to look like in that position in the future, we do not know. But hopefully, within these 50 years, Hong Kong will be reshaped. By, of course, Beijing will try to reshape it back to a better position as part of mainlanders. For Taiwan, is another different condition. So for long term, no matter what it is, whether it is through diplomatic, whether it's through war, by 2047, Taiwan must be returned to Beijing control as a province, regardless whether there is an independent declaration or what. War is inevitable, of course. There is no compromise in that from mainland to have Taiwan self-governing or postponement of reunification of total China into one China. So the deadline is 2047. So mark that on the calendar. It will be a bumpy ride on that point. Before 2047, probably Beijing would start using military action to reclaim Taiwan. But at the moment, that year is still another 20-ish years to go. So Beijing is preparing it, and through economic control, in political influence, and etc. etc. They're doing it as I speak, as we are discussing on this matter today. So yeah, that's a dark and gloom, I would say, what will happen to Taiwan. And now is the opportunity. Probably they can, rather than wait for 20 years, they can act within this 4 years to reclaim Taiwan. Who knows what it could be? And of course, in a more beyond the scope of Taiwan, Beijing or the Chinese people still have vengeful enigma of their own self is to destroy Japan. Yeah, I may be saying it's a bit foolishly, but due to propaganda and brainwashing of the young generations and so forth, making anti-Japanese sentiments is a norm in mainland China today. So we don't know what's gonna be happening on the next generation, like the Gen Zs, Gen Alpha, and Beta of mainland China. Probably they would be more anti-Japanese, and they will be more agreeable to destroy Japan. China, I mean, I understand what it means because I'm myself, by blood, by race, I'm Chinese, but I born in outside country like most American Chinese or overseas born, we call it. We pledge our loyalties to our own country rather than mainland because we have no relationship with mainland. Yeah, pretty much. I don't agree with this kind of sentiment. I would believe more on forgive and move on. The Japanese have admitted they have done the war. They lost the war. They suffered also. It's just that the Chinese is always holds a grudge. Now you think that they hold a grudge against Japanese. Wait, you see they hold a grudge on the Opium War. That's right. Those people who fought against the Chinese during the Opium War, many of the sentiments is re-energizing right now on the younger generation. Do not forget what happened to the Opium War, the Western rob the Chinese country, the Japanese were raping people and so forth. You know, these are the things that they will put up a sentiment. But of course, what Chinese greatest asset, no matter how it is patient. They can wait for 50 years, they can wait for 100 years, they can wait for 200 years, 400 years, but those sentiments will remain there and they will have the revenge. I would say in the way because Chinese does hold grudge a lot. If you don't believe me, the closest one right now that more realistic is Japanese. You know, a lot of the kids right now in China, as I say just now, they are anti-Japanese sentiments are very, very real. So it's a future of the you have to take anticipation. If you know this, probably you can manipulate in the stock market to get some profit, I would say. Alright. Well, rather than talking about those kind of doom and gloom, let's get back to the things that makes me and most of us all happy. Is numismatic collection. So first thing I like to go through probably the easy one is this one. Yeah, this is a note that I got. I've already made a video about this, that I actually sent it out to grade. I've made a decision due to its condition it's not worth to send out for like PMGs, so I use an alternative of the local one that is I use a local one. It's called TQG, top quality guarantee. They are based in Malaysia and they're also based in China. So the advantage of grading them, especially using Chinese notes, is they have the knowledge, I would say, to grade them, and the the branding of this grade is more recognizable in China. So it is much more appropriate to use, easy to sell this in mainland China, I would say this on this note. So yeah, grading, they have annotation, is corner and edge damage is pretty obvious. They are quite wear and tear, this note, and a lot of stamp inks like this, like this. These stamp inks are not on purpose. Probably is the functionality. At that day, on that time, they use a lot of stamp to validate that it's been paid or blah 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 blah. Or the note is authenticated. It's not fake. Something like that. So all this is a lot of histories. Official bank stamps is actually this. So it's categorized as and the pick number is 541A. There are B and there are C. Those are specific. B, C, and D, I would say, specific symbols. Those are the one more cost a little bit more valuable based on the value in the pick. But this is the cheapest one. Yeah. Based on this condition, fine condition, choice fine. In pick, I think it's showing around 550 US dollar. 550 US dollars is a lot of money. I got it, of course, much more lower than the actual price of it. So yeah, that's about more than 2,000 ringgit in this condition. If you get a better condition one, then it could go up to 4,000. I think this one, the next one is 7,000 US 4,000, I think. 4,000 US dollar at very fine condition. So these notes are pretty darn rare, and I could say it's expensive. Of course, to reflect its cost is depends on the demand. If there are demand, then the price goes up. At the moment, how many people are actually looking for this specific bank, Ningbo Commercial Bank and Saving Bank, printed in China, Republic of China, 1920? How many are looking for this? Not many, I suppose. But there are there are also two major confusion, I would say. Well, probably one confusion. In China, there's a limitation of number of prints they can print as fast as they can. So there are change or transition of the banks. Sometimes, although these notes are printed specifically for Ningbo Commercial Banks and Saving Bank, there's another one is a quasi-national, is the, if I'm not mistaken, Bank of China or Central Bank of China, actually use this note. They just cross out this name and they just put in their new name below it. Yeah, I have seen those notes before, and those are not so expensive compared to the original ones, as I've compared them on the standard catalog book by PICK. So yeah, whether I can find this note for its other denomination, we'll see. But I think it's very, very, very difficult, and I was considering, actually, if anyone wants it. Um, I was considering to sell them, or put it out in the auction house, actually. But the advantage is, if TQG is very, very strict on their grading compared to PMG. Although the most of the employees here came from former PMG employers. When they come and establish PQG, they of course have much more refined grading standards. They still use almost a similar grading system, of course, which is well known across the world, in numismatic world. So if this shows 15, normally in PMG it will go 20. That's right, it will go 20. It's always one step down. So finding TQG having 70 out of 70 is more rarer than finding a PMG 70 out of 70, because if this is 70 out of 70, that means it's literally translation is 71 according to the scale for PMG standard. They always go down one rank down from PMG's grade. So if this shows 15, if TQG shows 15, PMG will show 20. So that's how people roughly would estimate. TQG is much more stricter. So if you're able to get the grade in TQG 70 out of 70 perfection, is much more expensive than PMG, I would say. So it fetch more money. So to investors, note that is something that they consider, especially TQG is well established in Malaysia, most parts of Southeast Asia, and mainland China. So mainland China and Malaysia, they kind of recognize this TQG very, very common. Some auction houses in Europe, I seen some of them have they auction out some of the items they have is graded under TQG, which is good. It's the brand of the third party graders is kind of recognized across Europe and hopefully in North America. But of course, North America, we have plenty of competitors. Of course, number one is PMG, then we have Legacy, PCGS, and so on. So there will be a much more steeper competition over there. In Europe, kind of not so. So the entering the market there, probably Africa or Middle East, Central Asia, TQG will have the possibility. But in the Far East and the Southeast Asia, that's the base for TQG's operation to expand. So yeah, getting 15, I'm quite happy. I was thinking they're gonna grade it 12, and PMG will be graded at 15, because the condition is really not so well. You see, it's not sharp. All the edges are quite damaged. There's no tear on it other than this center point, the center part here. But everything looks very fine in its as a note itself. Details are there, colors still retain. Of course, the white, the corners are all quite worn off. Yeah, the details are there. That's the important for me in my collection. That all the details are there, and I'm quite happy to have this note in my collection. But again, if really people wants to buy out from me, I'm willing to let go my part of my collection of this, because I'm quite realistic. Nimpo Bank, commercial bank, it's going to be very difficult find for me to collect the other denomination, like the $1 and the $10. It's going to be very difficult for me, and I don't think I have the time or resources to collect Nimpo commercial banknotes. So something that I might be skipping probably really late in my time. So yeah, that's my Bank Pro TQG. I got it back. what else could I move to say? Next note is something I bought and a lucky streak, I would say, to find this note. Although disappointedly, I condition wise is not very happy, but knowing this is a commemorative banknote, to commemorate the 100-year birthday of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, the Queen's mother, basically Queen Elizabeth II's mother, as you can see is written here, to commemorate the 100th birthday of Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. Now, her name is also Elizabeth, and she is a queen, a former queen. So she retains her title as Queen Elizabeth, and of course it's added there to reduce the confusion as that she is the Queen's mother. They share the same name. Of course, Queen Elizabeth II is the official regnal name. Regnal name. Yeah, it was printed and issued on the 4th of August 2000. Pretty much is already 23 years old, the note. And looking at it, judging it, is really worn off. This was really abusively used by public. This is something very surprising for me to find. I've never seen a commemorative banknote being brutally used to the point in this condition. It is really a surprise for me to find someone. Today the dealer actually got some new stock, as we call it, the new stock that he bought from somebody as a bulk. So, being the first person, thank God and lucky for me, that I found this. In the search pile, I was noodling all the banknotes and found this. It's one of my bucket lists to get one of these notes, because let me get the note that I have, because I actually already got the one with the £5 Queen Jubilee, which is after this after this one issued as a commemorative in the year 2000. The next one is actually this one to commemorate Queen Elizabeth II of her Jubilee. So it's a commemorative banknote. This is a £5 commemoration banknote, and it's written there, the Queen's Golden Jubilee year 2002. Same bank, same thing, but the back looks magnificently beautiful. And before that was the 100-year birth of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, the Queen's mother. So the back is always beautiful as always, but we all collect commemorative banknotes. We all collect commemorative banknotes. Never tendency we don't use the commemorative banknote to buy something, because they are limited edition. There are not many quantities, and yeah, for it to be spent on a supermarket or to buy some purchase like any normal circulated note, this note actually went through those course of time, and looking at its condition is really used. There's a lot of fault line, no tear. That's quite good. Of course, the most common tears would be here. This has been quite reduction because it's been folded as in the middle. But for its condition wise, I've got this one for a price of a face value plus maybe 10 ringgit. I paid about 120 ringgit for this note. So if you change from ringgit to British pound, it's about 5.5 or 5.58 or 7 like this. It bucks up to 110 ringgit, 100 ringgit to 110 ringgit, equivalent to £20. So if you ask me, I paid a face value and extra 10 ringgit for the dealer's profit, so I call it a good price. If it's uncirculated and with a folder, which is normally should be printed on in a folder format, and it's a commemorative banknote, of course, that might cost probably higher, like 400, or I've seen some selling at 600. It was in my bucket list for my collection, but I tend to avoid buying this because it is in my lower point of priority. But I found something like this out of a pile, being bad condition, I would say, as for commemorative banknote, and compare it to the price that I'm paying it to the dealer, I can maybe say it's a steal. In a sense, it's a fair deal. Face value, I'm paying a face value of 110 ringgit plus 10 ringgit for a profit margin for the dealer. So total 220 ringgit, I think is a very, very fine. It's, yeah, I feel very lucky, yet I feel very disappointed. Probably this is something that I would still remain in the bucket list to upgrade. Once I get another note that is a reasonable price, in a better condition, in a folder or something like that, in an envelope, I'm probably going to sell this, or probably give this as a gift to someone else who are collecting British banknotes. I don't know why people write their 400 on the forehead. Lord Lay, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, very beautiful note actually. If I look at the photos and so forth in a good uncirculated condition, is beautiful. And her face looks very graceful. As something that I really like. Banknote, a commemorative banknote for feminism, such as herself, is very beautifully done on a banknote. Something that I can really appreciate that. So yeah, these are the two notes that I got today, which is commemorative banknote. Today I got this one almost a good price at 120. Got back my notes that I've graded, and this one just grading, I think it cost me probably about no more than 50 ringgit. So it is a Malaysian price. It's very cheap to grade locally, so I'm pretty very happy at that. So yeah, that's all I could say for today. Well, do I anticipate in the future? No. Yes. Again, I would say I'm still waiting for the notes that I have already won. Due to technicalities of the new laws has been amended this year, the country, by the Department of Antiquities and so forth. Every historical object needs to screen through for the permit to be exported out of the country. So, as I said last of my video, it is a way to prevent smuggling or removing their heritage, the historical heritage items of their own country. So it's a good control, I would say. But again, to do a business and in an auction house and catering the international buyers, like such as myself, or international bidders, it will extend the time. Last time when I bought this, it took them 2 weeks after I've complete my payment. It took them 2 weeks to reach to my house, the products that I've won, the items that I've won. But now they say probably minimum of the payment will take about 30 days. 30 days to like 1 or 2 months, 30 to 60 days. It depends on the flow from the department's speed on approval. So yeah, that is something that is a bit more logistically difficult, but something that I would not consider as a big problem for me to discourage from buying from the buyer. But anyway, it's a good chance for me to recuperate myself on giving how's the word that is the suspense, keeping the suspense, of the notes. Sometimes people feel that once you got the notes, like now I just got these notes, and then the next day it just nothing happened. It just becomes normal. I got ready. There's no excitement in there. Blah blah blah. Some people do feel that. I sometimes guiltily felt something that way. So having that postponement of more than 30 days after you purchase, you actually want it, and waiting for it delivered at home, the suspense is even longer. It keeps the more excitement for me to anticipate the note reaching to my doorstep. Yeah, and excitingly to present it to you all. Alright, that's it I could say. Thank you very much. If you have any comment, actually, I would say, if you have any comment, please provide me comments. If you like to watch, notify for future videos, do subscribe and so forth, and give me a like. If you like this video, if you have a comment, give me a comment. Again, the disclaimer, as always, I do this for my own personal diary on what I have received, what I have bought, and keeping it as a record for my future to recollect what I have purchased. I have a very short memory, so tend to say I'll forget what I've bought, what I have collected, and I use it YouTube as a diary for it. But on hand to hand, I would use it for sharing to the world on my collection. So yeah, thank you very much again, and I hope to see you guys soon. Bye.